Alrighty then, it's time for another Zack game, and this time it's Jungle Zack. Which one? And this game is quite a doozy, straight from the get-go. Like, I can understand people going to AFK to take a piss, or to do something. And usually they do this while they're at a tower, but this Ash was just standing in the river, probably alt-tabbed or something, and we show up and just kill her for free. She doesn't even react properly. I think she was just like, oh shit, getting into her hands on the keyboard and only barely reach the mouse and start clicking away. So that was a really easy first blood. So now I start off with the Krugs, and I don't get a leash except from the Thresh, because you know some AD carries just don't give a fuck. And then I go to the chickens and then to my red buff to maximize my health. Now, I can understand flashing the enemy when they're getting close to using their CC or flashing to react, but this is probably the greatest gank I've ever done. I go in against the Yasuo and I charge it for my E, and I don't even do anything. He just kind of flashes on his own. Like, he flashed to predict the future, I guess. So it technically cost me absolutely nothing to even just sort of attempt it. So hooray for my greatest gank ever. Amumu invades me, and he's actually not a weak invader, especially if he's got a red buff, but against a Zac, it's not really advised. I die very slowly. I try to lure him close to the Gragas because he's coming, and it's just to try to get him over this little U-turn here. It's actually very important because he's going to lose distance, and the Gragas would be able to close the gap. As a result, Gragas does catch him, and we're able to kill him, and even better, Malphite got a little overcommitted of helping Amumu out. In a 2v2, we would have destroyed both of them, so this was a huge mistake. Now, I gotta tell you again, that little curve right there that you just saw me cross, that is a huge death trap for champions, especially invaders without any mobility over walls. If you get a champion through that, they're gonna have to go around it. They're gonna lose distance between you and your teammate if they're coming to help you out. Those little turns and those little U-turns and curves around the map are some of the most important things you have to learn to master if you want to catch people. Sometimes you'll see me hold on to my crowd control until we get to those little curves because it's going to make them lose distance from me, and it'll make it easier to catch them or tag them with CC. So go rewatch that Amumu thing and just watch how I lured him in. Now, this Thresh is basically leaving Sivir to herself, and the Sivir knows this, which is why she's also roaming. I think a lot of our early game domination is going to come from this Thresh saying, fuck it, I'm going to just gank people. And he's not even being violent or anything like saying, oh, this server sucks. He's just deciding, he just straight out said, I want to kill people, and just started roaming. So because of that, we get an easy kill on the Yasuo, and while we're pushing the tower, a very, very angry fetus mummy comes out and kills the ninja. I barely survive because I do a little short hop to avoid getting into this little trail of tears. And I survive, I go back in and start clearing the jungle, but the Ashe is surviving with a little bit of health, so I flash forward and smite her, and Alistair can't do shit to kill me, so we just kind of walk around it. I like to lather his balls with my slime a few times, but again, I can't kill him, he can't kill me. I kind of realized the futility of this rather quickly, and then Yasuo shows up and doesn't achieve anything. Now, my runes and masteries were Magic Pen Red, Armor Yellow, Magic Resistance Blue, and Ability Power Quints. And 9-21-0 masteries. I actually took a ability power on the masteries this time. I usually don't. I usually just take cooldown reduction, and I actually usually just go 5-26-0. I just figured I'd try it. But either way, you see this Thresh cut the Amumu as he was traveling down the river. And it's just super aggressive, and that was actually a nice reaction by him. Like, he knows where Amumu going to be heading, and he'll be able to grab him. Now watch this too, it's important as well. As soon as I get into this bush, the enemy reacts, they back away, that means this is warded. But as soon as I hit the tri-bush, they go against a Sivir, that means this isn't warded. They don't know I'm still here. So I easily grab the Ashe, and she dies, but we're basically an effortless kill. I mean, I burned my ultimate, yeah, but it was rather silly. They should have at least realized that I could have been within reaction distance, right? Like, even if I had sort of gone away from the tri-bush, they were still not attacking fast enough or there fast enough for me to have arrived. That's actually a tip I try to give a lot of people. When I'm playing the jungle, I don't look at myself that often. And actually, that's rather peculiar. Some people say they don't play the game without locked camera. They say, Stonewall, how can you play the game without your camera locked in? And I just found that weird that anybody would play in locked camera, but point stands. I'm usually just watching the minimap and my teammates when I'm running around. I've gotten so used to just clicking the spacebar and clicking the minimap often just to keep track of myself and the enemy so I can notice their movements and whatnot. Like if you notice the enemy top laner is somehow starting to do something that's very unusual to the pattern they've been following for the last minute, you know something's up. If you notice a small movement in the of the enemy jungler across any other map, you know where he is, you can predict where they're gonna be, and you can react to them. Stuff like that is very important. By the way, I have to admire what the Yasuo did there. I've been preaching this whole DDOB thing, don't die like a bitch, and he knew he was dead. He knew he couldn't chase me. I mean, he couldn't run away from me and the Thresh, we'd chase him down, so he decided to try to fight before he died. And now here, I lure the Amumu to my Thresh, because I can see them on the map that they're coming, and also the Sivir, so it's going to be an easy fight. Unfortunately for Sivir, she kind of doesn't react properly, so they CC the hell out of her and kill her. At least her death brought us, you know, some glory. We killed the Yasuo, and of course Yamumu's not going to escape from the death squad that is Thresh. So yeah, we're dominating like hell. But you know, as you can see, this video is 13 minutes long, so you know something is going to happen. This is League of Throws after all. So I build Random Zoma. It's probably my favorite item to build on Zac because you become this gigantic cannonball that knocks people up and then slows them. Gives you at least some more CC of some kind, and helps out with your kind of risky peeling power. And after that, because of how big I'm getting, I'm deciding to buy Haunting Guys and going with the whole Magic Pen, Magic Resistance Reduction route. So you will see me get Haunting Guys and eventually a Vissel Scepter. And it's mostly because I'm super fed. But straight out AP doesn't help Zac, so you need to go Penetration and whatnot if you actually want to deal damage. Like, if you want to go fully committed to damage, you go Sorcerer's Boots, Haunting Guys, eventually Leandry's Torment, and Abyssal Scepter, and then you just become really deadly. But other than that, you don't got much to go for you. So, here's where shit hits the fan. Like, the Gragas gets really, really aggro, and he gets caught between the enemies, and I initiate to try to help him out. And unfortunately, we failed to control the Yasuo, which is probably what we should have been doing this entire time. So, Gragas dies, I fail my attempted escape with my E, I get really desperate the last hit because I thought it was just going to pop me, and of course it does, and I die. Now watch this. This is probably going to be the funniest thing in the entire fucking game. The Zed goes gung-ho against the enemy Ashe. He gets exhausted, he gets ignited, he gets everything tossed on him. But Ashe still survives until Mumu brings the wolves to her. Ashe would have survived if Mumu hadn't brought the wolves to maul her. Like, just rewind it. It's the funniest shit I've seen in a while. It's like, all it takes is one wolf biting her ass and she drops. I don't even know what the Amumu was doing prior. He had his tears on, okay? He had his tears on, so he was walking to the fight while having W on when he could have activated it at any point. Now look, I love this too. The Malphite is going to die a very slow and embarrassing death, but he decides just to turn around and kill Thresh. I like that. He didn't die like a bitch. And it's like, he knew he was going to drop, so you might as well kill somebody with him. And Thresh is worth money, so you might as well capitalize on that. You could argue that if he didn't do that, he would have his ultimate for when he comes back, but they're kind of already in a shitty spot and they need every little tiny victory. So, yeah. My team, I'm super fed. Zed is fed. This Thresh is fucking Jesus mode right now. Like, all my team is well fed. The Sivir is kind of a suicide magnet right now. Both the AD carries are just very unfortunate in this entire game. I don't even want to say they're bad. It's just they're kind of like the sacrificial lambs of both teams. Like, it's just not having the most fun time. So, like, a Sivir right here, she's just farming by herself, and then all of a sudden the enemy team decided to jump her. You can see that. She's unfortunate. Unfortunate, and, I mean, not unfortunate, just silly. The Zed tries to go win and be Jesus and dies. But there can only be one Jesus, and that is Chain Jesus, and that's Thresh. Sorry, that's mumbling. Anyhow, as you can see, the Haunting Guys is complete. I'm building myself to the Abyssal Scepter next to try to be Cannonball Zac. And for whatever reason, the Thresh decides to initiate on these guys and gets caught out and absolutely murdered. Even the Gragas was telling him, "What are you doing, dude? We don't have any power." So Thresh died for nearly free. And here comes like the worst fight you'll ever see, sort of. It's just like these three fatties are just slapping each other's cocks around and nobody's dying. Until I join in and actually contribute. Sivir joins in too. We catch the Malphite. He drops quickly. He tries to do something to Sivir, and unfortunately he doesn't. Amumu comes in, and he's gonna kill the Gragas. I think the Barrow ended up screwing Gragas more than anything else. And then watch this. I throw myself in front of the Amumu. I use my ultimate to create distance, and I try to put myself in front of the Amumu just to make sure that the Sivir doesn't get slingshotted by his Q. Unfortunately, it does get slingshotted by his Q when I finally get CC and she ends up going in front of me. But at that point, it doesn't matter. They're all goners. So we turn that fight around, only sacrificing Gragas to kill 3 people in a very fashionable display of glorious power. And I didn't even know that the Yasuo had been killed, but unfortunately the Zed also traded his life away, so it was a double seppuku. So yeah, this fight is going great, and I like that it's displaying a lot of Zack's power. It's just his slingshot is so beautiful of an ability. He's like, it lets me be anywhere and get anywhere real quickly. Landing it can be tricky against mobile champions since they can move before you actually slingshot yourself. Like in this case, he moved before I actually landed. So, but then in really the same 10 seconds, I get to just from cross 2 walls, nail him, and catch him, and finish him off with my teammates. Stuff like that is why I love playing Zack. I actually picked him as a first pick, just to be safe against the enemy team. I was thinking like, I don't know what first champion to pick. I don't want to pick Jarvan, because the enemy team neither of my team banned Mordekaiser for whatever damn reason. So I decided I needed somebody at least who could build massive magic resistance and generally be harder to kill or not be a worthwhile target to Mordekaiser's ultimate. So here, as you can see, we caught the enemy team, systematically slaughtered him, and you can see that I'm walking just next to the Malphite. I'm not even auto-attacking because I know my abilities will do more damage, and I don't want him to, make a huge distance between him and me, and we pretty much wiped out the enemy team in a really silly Baron attempt. I was very much against it from the get-go. So it's kind of our victory. You saw it from the very beginning that we were winning by a long shot. We had a few hiccups here and there. And at least you get to see that Zack in the jungle does still properly work. I mean, he still has his issues in which he has to level up his E first and leaving his Q to be kind of a shitty ability. But his ultimate is such a fucking cock block to full engage teams. It's such instantaneous knockup and such it covers a wide area, a wide enough area that can destroy a lot of melee champions and a lot of initiators. So it's just he really dealt with the enemy team. And of course, I highly recommend a lot of players learn and start off with Zack, because he'll teach you a lot of things. So hooray for the Jelly Jiggler.